and welcome back to Master Your Life with Kate McKay, a show exclusively dedicated to uncovering the path to excellence through powerful stories of grit and determination. I'm Kate, and I'm so glad that you've joined us. Today, I am very excited to introduce Stefanie Bruns. Welcome, Stefanie.
Thank you, Kate. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. How did I do on the pronunciation, though?
Fabulous.
So Stefanie, you're from Portugal. You're from Germany, and you're now currently residing in Portugal.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Sounds
right. We lived
lovely.
for 7 years in Portugal.
Sounds gorgeous. So I'm just going to read a little bit about you, just a tad bit, and then we can get right on into it. So Stefanie helps extraordinary world leaders achieve outstanding results and experiences. She's an expert in leading high performers to more life force, energy, and success. Stefanie's a quantum psychologist, a business mentor, and a mother of 4 children with over 20 years of experience coaching ultra successful people using methods and others would usually call crazy and spiritual. But that's the sparkle of the omniverse that we are here to discover. I couldn't agree more. I'm really excited about this conversation and the way that you have so uniquely integrated all of your interests, your passions, and your desires to help people up level. So congratulations for having the courage to do so, Stefanie.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. So just, if you don't mind, we're going to talk a little bit about the quantum field, but what I would love to know is, what were you like as a small child?
Oh, I was so incredibly shy. I was hiding below the table if a stranger would come into the room. And then when I was a little bit more bold, I always tried to make everyone laugh and to raise the frequency. I didn't use the word frequency at this time, but when my grandmother was very sad because she lost her husband very early, then I always tried to be the happy one in the room. And I always figured out, wow, there is someone who needs help. And then I was irritated if I couldn't help because they only wanted to tell their story. They wanted to stay in this victimhood and be the one who suffers. And it was a huge learning for me.
So you saw suffering and moved to bring joy to suffering, even at a young age.
Yeah, totally intuitively. So I didn't thought about it. But when I now look backwards and I say, wow, that was like an early passion of mine. Yeah.
So were you always a pretty much intuitive person? Could always read where people were emotionally or energetically?
Very highly intuitive, highly sensitive. It was not easy for me because I was like an alien in my family. And in school, I suffered a lot because I couldn't find friends. I was the one who got bullied all the time. And yeah, so now I found my way to my special skill set, I would say. And now I run a business where I can promote them and people love to get help from me. And that's a huge shift. And I love that. And now I'm teaching others to find their passion and earn a lot of money and heal.
And heal.
And heal from their old traumas, because we are many that experience similar childhoods.
So what was your path then through that? To be able to claim, as the word that I like to use, because you used a word when we were chatting earlier about resolving. That is a word that I don't hear much, but when you said it, I was like, oh. So what is the resolve that you do in your work?
It's a lot about reframing. So when I was 16, I've lost 5 of my best friends in several car accidents. And at this time, I thought, wow, they can't be away. So I couldn't understand that they will not come back. And then that was the beginning of my spiritual journey, where I understood, okay, there must be something more. And this was the start of a beautiful journey. Not at this time, but when I look back, I say, wow, it was excellent that that happened, because it led me to a deep dive into who we truly are, what we are as an energetic being, how we can resolve our lives, because we are supposed to suffer. So our brain is wired in a special way where we always focus on the bad things. So after a long working day, we sit down and we say, wow, I should be proud of myself. And this proudness is a process of 5 minutes and maybe 10 minutes. And you start, but I didn't did my taxes. But this part of my garden is still not cleaned. And I wanted to order this and that. So, and this is I don't know if it's totally natural, but that's the way of our brain. Maybe it's manipulated, but it's speculation. But fact is, we have to retrain it. We have to rewire it, that we focus on good things and that we understand, wow, the challenges that we have in life are like the best school ever of understanding who we truly are.
Mm. There is something about suffering that people find extremely sexy, though, Stefanie. Suffering is sexy to a lot of people. I believe that is the challenge, right? And the statistics are, and this, we're an anomaly. The statistics are that only 10% of this world, this world that we live in, focus on spiritual and psychological growth. That's 10%. That is a shocking statistic to me.
Yeah, and that's true. We are in a bubble. So we think everyone is talking about spiritual and psychological topics, but it's only because we know a lot of people. But if you look in the real statistic, you can see clearly it's only 10%. And when it comes to like a big examination, what's about health? Can you believe the health system, or should you believe your heart and your intuition? Then it's maybe only 5% or 3% of them who find their own way and who are not obedient. And that's more sad.
Yeah, so it takes disobedience.
Right?
It's okay to be a badass and to be disobedient. Well, I had the similar path to you, like growing up, that I always felt different. I always felt that I didn't fit in. Even in the big family that I had, I always felt like a misfit. And that's a common thematic with people who are masters in their business. They always were a little bit different. I'm curious to know, what would you say, Stefanie, to that younger version of you that's hiding under the table? What would you tell her?
That's your biggest gift that you have, this extraordinary part of you, because that's the part who's not following the rules. That's the part who's not believing the BS stories of the society. And when it comes to the suffering, it's collectively accepted. So it's more accepted to say, how are you? Oh yeah, I'm stressed, than to say, wow, I'm so good. I just have the amazing part in my whole life. My business was running. I have good, juicy partnerships and so on, and friendships. So this is not accepted. And I always say we have something that I call energetic loyalty. So we dim our light, we dim our photons down when we are in a room or in a conversation with someone who is suffering and is not vibrating that high. And we do this unconsciously. So it's not a conscious process. You say, I'm fine. Yeah, it's so good. And then 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you start to slow down. If you see, okay, there's really in trouble, he is not fine. And then you have like an energetic attachment or an energetic hole because it was like an energy vampire. Even though you like the person, even though it's a good person, that's because of the collective influence. And we have to program us and therefore also the collective. And that's possible. So it's a way to go because we are only maybe 5 or 10%, but we are on our way. And we know it doesn't need 95%. It only needs a special amount of beautiful souls, and our knowledge will go through the quantum field and will be like an imprint there for everyone. So everyone can download the information. We are like the pioneers.
I love that. I love I'm all good about being a pioneer. And I'm even better now that I find people like you that are walking this walk as we journey together. So we met through your just co-authored a book, and I was able to see the billboards in New York City and Times Square with all of your beautiful faces on there. And that book is Women Gone Wild and really dedicated to women entrepreneurs. And boy, you are all really claiming it. I'm very excited to be part of that group. And I'm just wondering, how has that shifted for you, being a part and seeing that there are other women that are supporting and loving each other in such a powerful way?
I was so touched. You can't believe. So I booked my flights to the book launch tour, and it was like framed for me. It's a marketing thing. So I will go there. It's business. I'm part of the book. And then when I was there, at the party, and everyone who was there told their story. So every co-author, I was in tears.
Wow.
I couldn't hold it. And I thought, oh my God, that's the most heart-touching experience I ever had. So I said, no, it's not only about marketing. It's a movement. It was the first time where I felt it so deeply that every power woman behind those stories is incredible, is a lighthouse for millions of others. And when we had this huge success with the book and to be on a billboard, I was like, wow, that's like a dream that is coming true. And I had to go several times to Times Square just to feel it's real. Right.
So being from, I think I mentioned to you, I had a German exchange student, a son that lived with me as a teenager. He was so good. So he was, we were at the supermarket, and we're coming out of the supermarket, and I'm talking to everybody, just what I do. And he bends down really close to me and he's like, do you know her? And I go, no. And he goes, never in Germany, never. It's just like he said, people don't talk to each other like in America. So I can, coming from that cultural influence, I can imagine how powerful that was to experience that level of love and connection.
Yeah. It is like this. So we have a special cultural background. And I mean, nearly every country has something like this.
Yes.
And this is also an energetic influence. So you can especially focus on energy frequencies of people, but also on a collective of people and also on countries itself. So you can say, okay, a country that suffered from war, from hatred, and so on, a long time vibrates in a lower frequency, and also collectively. So that means you have to step out the crowd and create those life force for yourself and to keep the frequency high, because your imprint is one of low frequency. But it's always possible to change it. Even if you are 99, you can change it every time. You can change it regardless of your background, of your story, of your wealth situation. And that's the good part of it.
Right.
So you can do it right now if you understand the principles.
So how do you get people to that place of the willingness, right? I mean, for me, it starts with worthiness, moves to willingness, and then people believing that they're capable. It's like, really, that's the journey, right? But oftentimes we have to start at the worthiness, and it doesn't really matter who we're speaking to, men or women.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And either way, you have a strong suffering, or you have a strong vision, or you have a small suffering and a small vision. It's also possible, but you need to be driven. So something has to drive you forwards, because we are talking about change on a personal level. And it's not only, oh, I have some belief systems that are dysfunctional and I have to change it on a paper. It's about daily work. So you have to train your brain muscles like muscles in a gym. And this is the hardest work, because nobody can see what you are thinking. So you have to get this awareness. You have to train your awareness first to recognize, oh, now I'm in a bad mood because I thought this and that, and then I felt this and that. So
right.
When you follow this path, you can find your old program, and then you can reprogram it.
That's so phenomenal. And I think part of like that, what we were referencing earlier about so few people focus on this psychological or spiritual path, is no one trains us, certainly never did for me, on how to be future focused and how to bring the unconscious to conscious understanding or conscious awareness. Same statistics. If 90% of our thoughts are non-conscious or unconscious, how do we build that bridge? And I would love to hear any or one or some of your process about how you work to create that beautiful and most transformative bridge.
Yeah. So, for example, someone comes to me and say, I know I have to get more visible. I know I have to do more social media, for example. And then we follow the path. So why you know that and not doing it? So what is happening in between? And then we figure out, oh, I'm in fear. Maybe some people feel annoyed from my postings, my emails. Maybe my ex-husband will see it and laugh about me.
This is all so real, Stefanie. This is real, because you would be shocked and amazed, viewers and listeners, what actually is causing people to freeze and not step into their power. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. So this is not an example. This is a lifetime example. So it's from my daily work. And then we figure out, okay, what is the biggest fear? The biggest fear would be not only one is a hater in the comments, a lot of haters will come up. And then I say, okay, it's not that irrational these days, especially when you focus on natural immunity, health, personal development, a holistic one. So it could be that Facebook and all the other platforms hate you and deplatform you. It could be. So it's not irrational anymore. But if so, what would be then? And then we go to the worst case, and then we figure out, okay, I will survive. Even though I wouldn't have any money, I will survive. I could do another job. I could work in a grocery store for a while. So I wouldn't fall into a hole that is appearing on the ground. So when we figure out, everything will go forward, even though I'm getting hurt, even though there will be a big loss, I will be okay. And on a soul level, I even would be okay if I didn't survive a strong illness, because I know energy is not lost. It's only changing the form. And when you go the path of the biggest, worst case, then the fear shrinks. And then you can say, okay, it doesn't matter. Should my husband see it? I like to give him a laugh. And then you can go forward. And sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's like an unconscious fear to be not part of the group. And our reptilian part of the brain is saying, you won't survive. You wouldn't survive the winter, because if you're not part of the group, nobody would share their food with you. So it's also something that could happen. But these days, it's not real. So we have to figure out, where's the biggest fear? Where does it come from? Maybe it's something from your grandmother's life. So it's going through generations. And then we would do an ancestral line healing, and depends on what is showing up. So I can't say it. It's not a general, okay, it's always this part, it's always this root cause problem. We have to find the original root cause problem. And sometimes it goes through 10, 15, 30 generations. So it will show up, and we can figure out this in a light trance. So I would guide my clients to find the real root cause, and then we could do a cord cutting, a ritual, an energetic cleansing, if there are contracts on a soul level or something like this. So it can be literally everything.
Yes, there's so many different modalities to touch base. That small pivot have such an exponential impact on your future, your relationships, to self, to others, your checkbook. I mean, all the different ways. So what about pretty heavy trauma? A lot of people have had sex abuse. I mean, for me, it's the trauma of losing a brother and a child. And that is just, it's such a powerful thing, right? I mean, for me, when that first happened, I was like, I could die and it couldn't be any worse than my child dying, right? It just was like, well, it's like kind of like the worst nightmare for a parent. It just so wild. So what is your process or belief around trauma? Have you picked up your copy of my best-selling book, Claim Your Inner Badass? Available on Amazon now. Go grab your copy.
So I have a strong belief. So when we enter this plane, we have a pre-birth contract with different people on a soul level. So for example, I would choose a perpetrator that would abuse me on a soul level in a pre-birth contract. And now a lot of people would think, why should I? I mean, it's not a lot of fun to get abused when you are a child, or it doesn't matter in what age. Because on a soul level, everything is aligned. So the soul is every time in this oneness, in this high frequency. And guess what? It's freaking boring. So the soul wants some excitement. The soul wants some adventure. That's why you're choosing, like from in a restaurant, when you can choose, okay, that's the main dish, that's the starter, and that's the dessert. You choose, okay, I have a little trauma here, a main trauma there, and as a dessert, some sweet trauma thing. And then it enters the life. And we just like a check mark, we check it up and say, okay, we did it. And the goal is to remember that we are more than our bodies, to remember that we are souls, to remember that we have the ability to work on an energetic level, to heal energetically. And when we heal energetically, we will heal physically. So that's the whole thing. That's the journey. So that's like,
why is it, do you think why do you feel so passionate about healing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's my cosmic mission. So I figured out not everyone has this. Yeah. For me, it's like the biggest thing. It's my driver that lets me jump out of my bed in the morning, even though I only slept 3-4 hours. And my kids are still young. So the youngest is 5, the oldest is 14. And that means a lot of work. I run a company with 10 team members. We have thousands of clients on different levels. And it's a lot to do. But I'm always mission driven. So I think, yeah, when I heal or one of my clients, it's not only for them and their system, we heal transgenerational, we heal even in timelines. So we can put this add-on to the healing and we say, and to all ourselves that are living in different timelines, this is set up. This healing is done. We created a massive healing story. And if we are doing this, the effect is amazing. So you can create earth healing, you can create healing and on an animal level, on a plant-based level. So you can put healing everywhere as an information. And because our intention is the strongest thing on this planet, it's measurable. So you can measure the effect immediately in hertz and people feel it. So when the healing is done, the energetic healing, and they feel it's more lightful, they are not so heavy anymore. They have the ability to laugh more, and it's joy. So it comes so much back, and that's an incredible thing. So I would recommend everyone to get an energetic healer, because that's what we truly are. So thousands of years ago, we did this. We put our hands on another person and we just let the energy flow through. And we have today statistics that shows, the healer is always in this energy flow, and the healer has a bigger effect, measurable, bigger effect than the person who is receiving the healing. So that's another goodie.
Right, exactly. So being a healer heals. And
right. And you don't have to do it on a professional level. So I'm not saying everyone should run an agency and should do their business, but healing on every level is what we truly are.
Yeah. And I view it as a responsibility. For me, it feels like a responsibility in the best of ways. Like it's a way that I view as my mission-driven perspective. Yeah. So could you talk a little bit? You mentioned frequency and hertz and the quantum field, all of these together. Could you just get a little bit into the frequency conversation? Because I think that's such an important topic and I find it very fascinating myself.
Yeah. So everything is energy. So we can measure our energy. We see that we have a circuit around every cell. It's measurable in millivoltage. So you can say healing is voltage. There's even a book that has the same title. And we have energy around us. So some call it the field. Scalar energy, said Tesla. Organ energy, said another scientist, Wilhelm Reich, a German one, who worked at the same time on free energy. And he created healing boxes where people could sit in, and this would focus the free energy from the surrounding into the box. And we have today similar devices. So there is energy, and we are like the biggest transducer of energy. So we suck in this light photons and we give out this light photons. We have 20,000 photons per second that will go out from our heart center in a normal state, let's say. If we have a state of alignment of all the energy centers, then we have an increase of 5,000 times. So 100,000 photons can be then sent towards someone if you want to focus on someone and do some healing, or just to everyone in your field. So, and we have this natural state if you fall in love. then you have like this glow on your face, and you are like, wow, what's happened to you? Are you in love? No, if you have a good meditation, or if you have a good practice to clean your energy centers and your meridians, then you don't need to fall in love or meditate 4 hours. So you can have it every day. And this is our natural state. So when we have this in mind, we know, okay, we can use this. We can even energize our water. We can energize our food with this focus, and we can give certain informations into our food, and then we get even healthier. So when I'm out, and normally I wouldn't eat gluten, for example, but sometimes I can't avoid it because everyone is eating a pizza, and it would be awkward to just eat a salad. And sometimes I love to eat pizza as well.
Yes.
But then I would use my energy work to decrease the bad effects of gluten on my body. So, and in that way, I can even drink sometimes alcohol, and can program the alcohol that it not goes into my blood, so I won't get very drunk. So, and that's interesting. You can measure it. You can even put 2 glasses of water together, inform one, and then test. And you will see, oh my gosh, it tastes so different. And it's so good to feel what you are capable of. And this is the magic of frequencies. We as mothers can feel if something is off with our kids, even though they are 300, 500 kilometers away. And we could feel it with everyone if we would increase our extrasensory perception. And I think the word is wrong, because it sounds like it would be extrasensory. It's our normal perception, but we forgot it, and we didn't train it. The opposite is the case. So when a kid plays with an invisible friend, we try to reduce this, and we say, no, it's not true. There's no one. So stop pretending there is someone. But the kid is in connection with the invisible world. So the kid is in exchange with this energetic beings. And if we know that, we can support it. And my little ones are working with energy healing. So if someone of their friends have a great fall, they say, okay, let's do some energy healing. Rub your hand palms, feel the energy ball, and then put it on the wound. And they healed incredible burnings. So 3rd-degree burnings from boiling water just by energy. So, and that's incredible if you see how natural they use these things when it's not cut it off.
And it's science too. I mean, that's the part I think that's so interesting, is when I first started coaching, it wasn't so much an outcome-based business, right? It was how do you measure it? And I think that if you're looking even the correlation between, let's say, sound healing and music, like when you're looking at the sound and then you correlate that with the modality of sound healing, it's quite fascinating.
It's so fascinating. I love the whole thing about sound healing. And I mean, we can work with tuning forks, we can work with sound balls. So I have all of this, but the best tuning fork is right here. So we have it in our own system. So we can use our throat to chant some mantras, or to just use it like a cat to purring. When you use it, then it's like calms you down immediately. So a cat is doing it. When we pet a cat and it starts purring, then we say, wow, yeah, that's calming. But you can do it as well. And if you say, oh no, my voice is not good, I can't sing, and a lot of people telling this to themselves, then you can just do some sounds and you will feel that is doing immediately a shift in your whole body, because everything is frequency. And if you use tuning forks that are especially designed to vibrate in a special frequency like 432 hertz, then you feel, wow, you are grounded immediately, because it's the frequency of the earth. And you can use it very quickly. So it only needs 30 seconds. And you can also sing intuitively, and you will feel it will bring you in another state, because it's all is stick together. So the frequency around our cell, when I said, okay, you can measure it in millivoltage. And if it's not in the ideal millivoltage, then you would have, you would feel like very, very tired till to fatigue. And if it's very, very low, then you can have a wrong divination of the cells. So you would end up with cancer or with a tumor or with other heavy illnesses. And you can heal yourself through sound healing. So that would be one approach. You can heal yourself when you treat your food and increase the frequency, and you will taste it and you will feel it. So it's so good to work with the tuning fork and with the sound bowl. That's amazing. So and
it's so cool.
Is together.
Well,
yes.
What would you like? So I'm from America, and people are the quick fixers, right? They want the pill.
Yeah.
They want the pill. They want the quick fix to suffering.
Yeah.
And
the
do you have any suggestions on how any of the viewers and listeners can just begin this journey and be able to just believe, maybe in the mustard seed of faith, that it's possible, and to be able to claim your own restoration?
Yeah, let's do a fancy experiment. So a lot of people say, yeah, it sounds interesting, but I can't believe it. But if you feel that your body is reacting immediately on something that you hear, that you see, that is entering your field, then they start to believe. So, and we have something that we call skin resistance. So we can measure, for example, our muscles. So with kinesiologic muscle testing, so a lot of them know this. The healing practitioner would say, okay, take the gluten. And if the gluten is good for you, your muscles would be straight and you can't put them down. If they are weak, it's not a good substance to use, so don't eat gluten. But there is also a measurement that you can do yourself. So you could do a self-testing, but a lot of people are not sure if they learn it the first time. Oh, I don't know, maybe I didn't put hard enough the fingers together. Maybe the muscles would be strong. So that's why I'm using mainly the skin resistance test. So, and we can just test 3 words and feel how it would feel like if we say, for example, love, harmony, and happiness. And you just rub softly your index finger with your thumb. So, Kate, what would you say? If we say loud, and everyone is welcome to join the experiment. If you say love, harmony, and happiness, what would you say? How does it feel?
Mine's a little sticky because I think I did from lunch.
But you didn't say it loud. Say it loud. So say love,
happiness,
and harmony.
Love, happiness, and harmony. Oh, it just feels like warmth.
Yeah. So most people say it's warmth. It's like soft. And now we change the words and we say hate, fear, and anger. Hate, fear, and anger. What would you now say?
Brr. It just is cold, it just has a clammy thing.
Yeah, isn't it incredible?
Yeah.
So now we swipe it off. We don't want to have the last 3 words in our field. And you can feel, most of the people would say, yeah, it's a little bit hard. It doesn't feel good. It's cold. or it's a bit sticky, something shifted. Ew, what is that? And then we swipe it off. And it's because everything that enters our energy frequency is creating immediately a reaction in our energetic frequency. And doesn't matter if someone is talking to you, if it's your own thought. So always it's the same if you would only think about 3 words. It can be also 1 word, doesn't matter. Could be a picture that you see, could be a scenery that you see, that you witness. And in both sides. So if you see someone is drinking, is breastfeeding a baby, and you see, wow, that's so harmonic, it makes something with your frequency. If you would see someone that gets hurt at the ear, a little child, bang, that was not good to you, then it makes something with you immediately. And also substances, food, nutrition, and so on. So supplements, everything is creating a reaction. And if you know that, then you have the power to change something. So then you see, wow, every word counts. Every thought counts.
It truly does. And every experience, and just be consciously aware of that. Oh, wow. So how would people, I have one other question. So do you have a favorite failure in your life?
I love every failure that I
did.
I only regret that I did it earlier.
Yes, right. And then you had mentioned that it took great courage to step in and bring all of the modalities that you actually practice into a business, because you're working with, ultra successful people. I mean, doctors and such. So that took great courage. Yes.
Of course. So 2 years ago, to answer your question, I lost my former business because my business partner betrayed me. And now I could go the victim road and I could say, oh, how could she? But on a soul level, I knew immediately, oh no, we had a soul contract. So I forced her to do this for me, because then I could walk my talk. So everything that I taught before was now like, okay, Stefanie, can you shift your frequency in 2 hours? Because there's nothing on your bank account anymore. Everything was in a business account. So we could have bought a house from the money that I have lost, a huge villa. But okay, it was a good learning to don't tell to myself, oh no, I'm only the creative. I can't do the processes behind the scenes. So now I stepped into my true power and I took everything over, and I did it for myself in my new company. And I created it even bigger and better. And I was so grateful that she did this, because in the first month I hit the 6 figures already. And it was always our dream together to hit 6 figures. And I thought, yes, thank you. That was only because I could free myself in that way. And I would never done this without this kick out.
Right. And then
it was my biggest failure and my biggest learning at the same time.
And the pivot to the greatest success, which is just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So how can people find you, Stefanie? I know you have a few different programs, and I would love, and obviously I'll share all this information in the show notes.
Yeah. So I run a company that's called businessflowacademy.com. And if you hit the English flag, then everything will turn to English, because we operate mainly at the German market, but more and more people asking for this special approach and this special services. That's why we start to go international and have set up some programs as well. And it's flourishing.
Can't wait. That's so incredible. So Is there anything that you'd like to say that you want the listeners and viewers to know in parting, Stefanie?
Yeah, there's so much that we don't know. So it's incredible. I feel like a young student every day because I think, wow, the world is so full of knowledge and knowledge that you can't find in a book, that no teacher can teach you. If you understand your life, like the best university program on the planet, because it's on a quantum level, then everything will turn into gold.
So awesome. I'm ready for it. Well, Stefanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. You are incredible. Thank you, Kate.
We're very, very grateful. So thank you to the viewers and listeners tuning in to Master Your Life with Kate McKay. And until next time, remember, all that's good can be transferred into gold. Take good care and have a wonderful day. Looking for an inspirational speaker at your next event? Please reach out to us at kate-mckay.com and to book Kate at your next event.